It's already getting really hot because we're a little high up in the mountains. I get problems with the air, like it's lower oxygen. It's not even that high up. And my airways are also blocked in spring because of the pollen. I did the allergy test and I'm very heavily allergic, let's say. The doctor said clinically allergic for blossoming trees and leaves and stuff. I get very heavy impact on my airways. So you would say catching fresh air is good, but for me it's barely, like I don't get out of its way. But for me I struggle with breathing when I walk like this in spring. It's like I'm a smoker even though I'm very fit. And I don't have this breathing issue when I'm boxing, when it's inside. I never run out of breath. I can go for like 50 minutes boxing straight. A lot of energy. But right now it's kinda messed up. Even though I'm not even doing anything strenuous. Here's the other village, Bačevo, where I wanted to walk. So this walk is between Gotlevo and Bačevo, which is on the other side of the mountain. And then I'll walk back and just look at the view. From here you can catch the whole Pirin mountain, the north slope of it. See? The whole of Pirin. This is amazing. And on the other side you catch the whole of Rila, the southern side. But Rila is so big and it's more in a round form, so you catch only a tip of the whole mountain area. Make no mistake, perhaps the whole mountain is as big as the Netherlands, the whole range. Like at least half of it, let's say. This is amazing. You get like half the size of my country in just one mountain range. And that's just one. In that regard, Bulgaria is the ultimate paradise on earth. So I've done a lot of exploring this trip. Also of, let's say, half abandoned villages. Like I go to houses and stuff sometimes. I even, when things are really abandoned, I went inside, which is kinda freaky. So as you know, I do a lot of exploring on my trips and always alone. And I met with someone who said, like several people who say, you shouldn't go alone, don't go to these places alone, like I do. Better don't go anywhere alone even. And aren't you afraid? Aren't you concerned? What if they beat you up? Not all people are friendly. Like this sort of arguments. And like, you know, I've done like almost 7 years of exploring in Bulgaria. Never had anything happen. Like nothing more than, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes you catch someone in an off mood, let's say, or not, who's having a bit of a bad day, but that's all. 99% of people I met were cheerful, hospitable, friendly. That's for people in all the layers of society. So, out of experience, I wouldn't say it's unsafe. You shouldn't be naive, but it's not I'm afraid to go alone. Never been. Probably never will be. At least not in Bulgaria. I've had a lot more rough encounters in other countries. Like I went to Moldova alone, Transnistria. Or actually I have been in some more dire straits. It's just a bit more rough, let's say. And even then I'm not necessarily afraid. But for the whole Ukraine alone, the whole Caucasus, Egypt, where I have been in some more specific encounters as well. Bulgaria to me is like heaven on earth in the safety aspect. You can pick your camera, walk around with your phone, and apart from the ordinary stuff that you could reasonably expect, there's nothing going on. Like, yeah, your phone could be stolen, your wallet, your car could be stolen. Like, these things do happen, but this is nothing out of the ordinary that couldn't happen in another place. So I think there's no specific safety risks for Bulgaria in that sense. In the people aspect. Not even if you're gay, like me, or even openly gay, like me. Like, people know. I don't really say it when I just meet someone, but I could, and then still it will be fine. Like, yeah, I will not show public affection, but unfortunately there's few places where you can do that anyway. And I also wouldn't even do that with a girl, so I don't need people to see that no matter what I do. So that's not an issue for me either. And even then, I guess it's a peaceful country, it's stable, so. But sometimes I start thinking, like, when I hear people say these things like, oh, aren't you afraid? I think sometimes, like, do they know something that I don't? Am I in actual danger when I walk in these places? Am I in actual danger of, I don't know, something negative that people do to me? Like actual danger, getting beat up when walking through a place like this? No, I've been beaten up in the Netherlands more than once, also for no reason. But here I've been okay, pretty much okay, which is good. So it's either that I'm very naive, which I don't necessarily think, and I completely miss danger on my radar, like I'm crazy to walk in a place like this because there might be someone coming after me with an axe, or it's them who haven't truly went into the country, walked in a place like this, talked to everyone they meet, and having done that for 7 years in a row. And honestly, I think it's the second that a lot of people don't know their country in the full sense, and that actually it's there is not any danger in that sense to think of. I guess my empirical evidence is just that, and I think their empirical evidence is very slim, because the people I met or meet, they stay in the towns. Yeah, they do the touristy things, but there is nothing like this. Going into the places, even into very underdeveloped places, and it's always fine. So yeah, you shouldn't do that in every place. Also here, not in every place, but even if you do, nothing would happen to you out of the ordinary, unless you search for it and provoke it. Then you can get some. Another thing that's strange, if people say, aren't you afraid to get beaten up? I'm like, why? What do you mean? I get beaten up 10 hours a week in the dojo. I get actual fists thrown at me, punches by guys who weigh 80 kilos. And I do that continuously, just to get to roll with the punches and not be afraid of these things. Like, I'd be afraid of a knife, absolutely. But someone throwing a left hook at me, yeah, you should always be scared of strangers. You don't know what they do, what they can do when they'll fight you. But am I afraid of the punch itself, like getting a punch to the nose? No, I bring it on. I mean, and that's an actual sort of confidence that you get when you're in a dojo for 10 hours a week and you actually throw and take punches. You're like, yeah, it's not such a big deal, unless it lands very bad and you get your head on the pavement, let's say. But even you learn how to fall. Everything is in my instinct now. And I wouldn't say I'm afraid of some bare knuckles necessarily. Like, and even if that happens, you're already 10 steps too late. Because I now have the awareness that before such a situation would arise, I'm already long gone. Because I'm 10 steps ahead and not 10 steps back, let's say. You should always avoid violence in the first place. Some big cows here. Hey, sweetie. So definitely one of the more beautiful areas of Bulgaria here. Like really. The views everywhere. Look at this. How big. It's just so, I don't know, so unique. It's a very real place. Yeah, definitely. Because I was thinking of going to Sandanski, which is a cool place, make no mistake. But I'm glad I stayed here and explored the areas for a few more days.